Good morning and welcome to Croydon, Pennsylvania. It's the 18th of February, it's 2020, and we're on our way to a client's house who has been a client for the last several years and has used our services a number of times. This client has a noisy ceiling fan that she wanted replaced. Now, she went out and purchased a ceiling fan she wanted, and then she had it prepared for me, and I went over there and looked at it, and she has a 16-inch round ceiling fan in her ceiling right now, and she wanted me to replace it with a 14-inch square one. Now, this, as the math indicates, would require drywall repair. So, rather than charge her the labor and the materials to replace that entire ceiling fan and do drywall repair and everything on the ceiling to get it to fit right and to look good, I told her I'd fix her old one. So what we did was we ordered a new motor for the old one. And in most cases, you can get a replacement motor for a bathroom exhaust fan. In fact, if you have one that's like a Brown or a New Tone, they're the same company and the motors haven't changed in years. Now, the bracket might be different and you might have to take the actual motor out of the housing and screw it into the new one. But that's not going to be the case today. All we're going to have to do today is take out the old motor housing, pop the new one in, and it's going to be ready to go. So I'm going to show you how to save yourself hundreds of dollars just replacing the motor in your exhaust fan, and I'm going to show you right after my intro. Alright, so I know it's a little bright in here and it's really kind of hard to see. It's going to get a little worse before it gets a little better. This plate is just held up here by two spring clips. I know you can't really see that well. You just squeeze them together and they come right out of the ceiling like that. Just set that aside. That's going to go back on again. Let me loosen this light bulb here, darken the room up a little bit. And there you go. Now you can see a little bit better. So that light assembly that you see there is only held on by a small wing nut. Some of them might be held on by Phillips screws. Some of them you might require you to have a pair of pliers or an adjustable wrench or something of that nature. But generally there's something that holds it in there. You just pull it down and it should unplug from a regular AC outlet up in there. In fact, there should be two AC outlets. The other one should be for the fan. So as you see, I just unplugged the fan as well. This particular unit has one Phillips screw that holds the fan in. So I'm going to get a screwdriver out of my bag and we're going to take that one simple screw out of there, and you'll see that the fan assembly, you should keep your hand up there. It could drop on your head. This one I know is very tight in there because I've had it out before in hopes that I was going to be able to just oil this and maybe make it work. You can try doing that. You can try putting oil on the shaft. You can also try putting a rubber grommet on the shaft. Neither of them worked with this. So I took the screw out and you just pull the assembly out. There's the motor on the back. That white finned disc is called a squirrel cage. That squirrel cage is what was rattling up in there. So see, here's the replacement one, and as you can see, they are identical. Now this was about $42 online, and really all you have to do at this point in time is do everything back in reverse. It all goes together the same way it came apart. Those two little tabs that you see on the motor assembly, see one there and one right here, they go into the slots. There's a little slot right there on the right, another one there on the left. Just push them into those slots and then push the motor assembly into place. Usually it'll lock itself in to some extent. It depends. Sometimes they're real loose in there, sometimes they're not. I would suggest holding onto it. And then you just put that one screw back in and then plug it back into the proper outlet. Now there's two outlets up in there. One's for the light, one's for the fan. The black one is usually for the fan, the white one is usually for the light. So if you don't have yours color coded, if it didn't come that way, take note to where you unplugged everything from so you can put it back the same way you took it apart. Now you just plug the light assembly back into the white outlet, put it back over the threaded stud that's up in there, and in your case it might be a couple tabs or it might be a screw or any other number of things. It's usually pretty simple, and then you tighten it back down. This particular case here, it fits up in there and a wing nut holds it in place. So I'll put the wing nut back on here and tighten it down. You don't have to over tighten it, just enough so that it doesn't rattle when the fan is spinning. And that's another thing to look out for. If your fan is making a noise, it could be something rattling. It could be the squirrel cage being loose. Sometimes you just need to push it on better. Sometimes the light assembly came loose and you just need to tighten something up. Don't go run out and buy a new one. Always double check it first. This is probably the easiest part of the whole job, not that there's any part that's real difficult. These two spring clamps, you just squeeze them together, and inside the chassis of the exhaust fan is two slots on both sides. You push those spring clips up in there. You only have to get them up in there maybe 1/4 of an inch. They'll catch on because the ends of those spring clamps are curled, and then you just push the cover plate back up. And because they're spring loaded, they hold it in place. Well, there you go. You must be confident now. You know how to change out an exhaust fan motor assembly. Now you can see the light works, the exhaust fan works, everything's tested. It's the way we need it to be. Now, this isn't the quietest fan, but that's the amount of sound it's supposed to create.